zone. Zoom out. Give me.
Are you ready? Here, I'll clap to sync us up.
Great. That'll work great.
I've been so spoiled lately. I haven't had to open up Audacity in forever.
I know. It's just hands off. All you got to do is show up and talk now. It's crazy.
And bring a mic.
Yes, that is.
We know who the brains is behind the topics. No, I'm kidding. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Common Ground Podcast, your favorite podcast. We talk about your favorite format, Pauper. I am your co-host, Cameron Schindler, joined as always, 74, by Thomas. I don't know what you did this weekend. What'd you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? I'm looking at my calendar. I've been working a lot. It's been a very busy work weekend, and like today was
Thomas
like a very, very long
working
day.
his butt off. Gone. There we go. How's that?
That's true. No, that works.
It was a long day for you.
It's very true. Yeah, I had a nice long day. I had like 6 to 6. Yeah, a nice long 12-hour day. Nom.
You should listen to the song "Coles" by Tyler Childers. It's sick. It's a good one.
Like spelled like the store Coles, or like
no,
Coles,
spell as in like coals, as in like a coal mine. It's about working a coal mine.
Oh,
and like basically you're just born to work, kind of thing.
Ooh.
It's an intense song. It's really cool. It's funny because people can take it like very like a few ways, but I think there's a clear interpretation in there.
I like a good working class anthem. I mean, I've written some working class anthems.
Oh yeah. I heard you perform one Wednesday. It was great.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that was fun. That was
awesome.
Night.
That was really fun.
That did happen. That was also a thing that happened. That feels so long ago already. I've just been going.
I know, that felt like
it
was a month ago.
Oh man.
Yeah, that feels like it was a month ago, and it was just last week.
You had a fun little trip, hanging out with some friends of yours on their bachelorette party.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Hell yeah!
So, the same weekend as the RC and Mini, my friend was having a bachelorette party in Mini, and I'm like, "Yo, if I qualify for this tournament, could I come go drink with y'all one night or whatever?" And she's like, "Yeah, of course." And that was that tournament that was on coverage. You can watch it on Game Night TN on YouTube. So there's like videos of that tournament. I lost in the finals to our friend Jay. That's the me crumbling up the copper line gorge. And so I was talking to my friend. I'm like, I got second, so no invite. And she's like, you'd still come. And I'm like, let's go. So I was in Mini this weekend celebrating her getting married. It was really fun. It was me, her, and then 5 other gals that I've never met before. And I've been friends with her since middle school, so it's really cool that we like kept in touch all these years, because I think she moved in like 8th grade, and we've just always been friends since.
Nice.
But it's kind of like nerve-wracking, like just meeting 5 people that like somebody else, like your friends with. So it's like, oh, am I gonna fit in? Are they gonna like me? Are they gonna think I'm weird? Because I'm a little weird. But they were like the same flavor of weird, so it was super fun. Like they made me feel really welcomed. Like, they're going to try to make it to Tennessee one of these times. They're such a cool like group of people. Like Minneapolis is an incredible city. I've never felt so safe like clubbing in my life. Like everybody there was so cool.
That's dope. Yeah, I saw some of the photos. You shared some photos on Instagram, and like, not to like make it like gender normative or anything, but like being the one dude with a bunch of girls on their bachelorette party, like that had to also have been like super fun. Like you're riding it. There was a picture of you like riding a giant like dick thing, like it was saddled up like a rodeo, but it was just a giant dick. It was awesome.
Yeah. That was at a gay 90s bar. That place was awesome.
Yeah. Let's go.
So it was just really cool. Minnie was amazing. Like the people there were so nice too.
Yeah, Minnesota people are awesome.
So many compliments from like girls, guys, theys, like so many awesome people. Like it's just like an incredible city. You could walk the entire downtown like indoors from like the sky bridges and stuff, which is really cool. Just I don't know. I love the city. I could see, like, if it wasn't so cold and I didn't love it here, I could see myself like posting up there one day.
There you go.
Because like, and those girls just like made me feel like so like welcome to, like, they're gonna try to make it out to Nashville sometime. I think I said that, but like I just can't overstate how much fun I had. Like they're all so cool, and just Yeah, there you go. That's
awesome.
Another 2 incredible weekends back to back. It needs to stop. This weekend's Pauper for us.
Yeah, This weekend is our pop hour. Excuse me. This weekend is our Pauper locals. Unfortunately, it's also an RCQ weekend too down at Game Night, which is one of our favorite shops to play RCQs at. Unfortunately, I have to work.
Play Pauper.
I'm scheduled 9 to 5 on Saturdays, so I'm gonna miss everything. But yeah, the Pauper locals will be going on, so I'm sure we'll have some recap to share, as well as a special guest next week. I know we kind of have tease that maybe we'll do a mailbag episode, but the mail is kind of a little slow trickle, so we'll hold off for a little bit. The mail can wait. Yeah. With some of the results that we'll talk about next week, we're gonna have a friend of the show who we've mentioned many times, Hunter, come on the show and talk about the spy decks that have been popping off. More on that later. Spy
aficionado.
It's true. But this week,
one more.
Oh yeah, go for it. If you got another story,
I got one more quick tangent.
Hell yeah, go for it.
I thought of one that's podcast appropriate.
Oh wait, we didn't mention James is not here. We have no Hippo this week.
Oh my god, our Hippo is not here. Hippo's been having a rough day, so yeah. Hippo's off. He's taking it easy.
Send your love to Hippo in Discord. Send him some love.
Add him in Discord. Yeah, add him in our Discord and be like, we love you, Hippo. We love Hippo.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him happy birthday. It's not his birthday, but it'd be funny if he just got a bunch of messages.
It'll be his half birthday in a couple weeks, actually.
Oh, okay. Next to him, happy half birthday. You'd get a chuckle out of that. But so the second bar we went to on a Friday night had karaoke, so I sign up immediately. I sign up for 1985 by Bowling for Soup.
There you go.
I know everybody will like it. Whatever. 2 people are ahead of me. They first go on, and I'm like, this is going to sound so mean. I'm not a good singer preference. I'm not that good of a singer. I get into it. Like, I got like good stage presence, and I can get into it.
This is true.
But these people were not great before me, and I'm like, oh, let's go. Because, like, I'm just used to Nashville, where we do karaoke here, and everyone's
pretty damn good.
That's why everybody's here. It's annoying. And so I'm like, yes, I'm surrounded by people who are also very mid at singing. They weren't like ear screeching, and I hope I'm not ear screeching when I sing either.
No.
But I'm just like, yes. One of the girls in our group was like also very, very talented though at singing. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it to you there.
You got to have your moment to shine.
Oh, it was fun because I got into it. It was headbanging and stuff, and people were hooting and hollering and singing and stuff, and the part of a song where it goes like stop, 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 and bring back. I just like screamed that last stop, so that felt good. Just got into it. There you go. There was one appropriate story. I was trying to think of one I could tell on the pod. Yeah.
Wonderful.
But you interviewed PickledHeart.
I did.
Or Kyle is their legal name. He won the Washington, was it called the Washington Pauper Open?
No, the Washington one is coming up. It was the West Coast Pauper Open down at the Laughing Dragon event in Santa Clara, California, on April 19th, Saturday, April 19th. It was a few weeks ago, and we've been it was originally kind of a joke in Discord where he posted like, do I get an interview on the pod? And then we like thought about it and like, well, actually, yeah, let's chat with you and kind of hear what the event was like. We're kind of over here in like the southeast, Midwest-ish part of the country. We're getting updates from the Northeast with the upstate New York Pauper League stuff going on. And of course, obviously, the European scene continues to pop off. But we're getting a little bit of West Coast stuff sprinkled here and there as well now, which is pretty sick. So I sat down with Kyle and we had a nice little chat about the deck he brought to the tournament. I'll wait and let y'all hear the interview and just about his experience at the tournament. And it was great. We had a great time. We had a great chat.
You hear that, Discord people? Or listener people? If you join the Discord and you're pretty cool and you win a tournament, you too can get a Common Ground interview winners. Oh my gosh, I am not speaking. So cut to the interview.
Yeah, well, let's cut to the interview. Alrighty, we are back here. Thomas here. I am joined by Kyle Herman, aka PickledHeart, in Discord. How you doing, Kyle?
Doing good, Thomas. Thanks for having me on, man.
Of course. As folks know, Kyle is it is until there's another West Coast Pauper Open in Santa Clara, I suppose. You are the West Coast Pauper Open Santa Clara 2025 champion. You took down the tournament with Walls, and we're gonna chat about the tournament. First off, let's just get to know you a little bit more. How long have you been playing Magic, and how long have you been into Pauper in particular?
Yeah, I got into Magic. I learned through like a coworker of my mom's when I was young, back in like OG Ravnica, and then I dropped the game for a really long time. Got into it more so in Shadows over Innistrad, and since then I've just been an addict. Post that, I started playing Pauper only maybe 2018 to 19. I worked for an LGS that we just weren't having standard launch for standard showdowns. And I decided, hey, maybe I can convince a couple people to play Paupers. So after a draft on a Friday, we just ripped open a bunch of bulk boxes, and we had stuff from, I want to say it was Iconic Masters. And we were just ripping through commons and saying, hey, we should just build decks. And we stayed there till like 2 a.m. And from there, it was a wrap for me. I got so entrenched in the format, and now it's the only thing I play for Magic.
That's awesome. Shadows over Innistrad was like, I loved that set. I drafted so much of that set. Like the secret green-white draft archetype that like LSV was championing on limited resources at the time. Like I knew about it, and none of my friends knew about it. Oh man, that set was awesome. So many bangers.
I got my butt kicked a lot, but that's how you learn, right?
Yeah, that was great. That's cool. And also just coming from the LGS experience too, just being able to like have access to the cards and be able to like be a part of that community is really cool. Like in that such a pivotal way. That's awesome.
Absolutely. We only got like 6 to 8 people, but it was something. And from there, COVID kind of kicked down everything, obviously.
Sure.
And since then, it's just been a process of rebuilding, but still small but mighty out here.
For sure. And out here, I imagine being California, hence being in the area for this Pauper Open in Santa Clara here. So let's talk about this tournament here. So you walk in. What are the vibes? Is this part of the larger Laughing Dragon convention that was going on that weekend?
Yeah, so I've gone to the Laughing Dragon events that are hosted out in the northern part of California for the past 3 years, and they always do some amount of Pauper. Usually just like a once a day event. They'll do like a 3-rounder or a 4-rounder. You earn some tickets. But Salt and Pauper is a smaller content creator out here who's a real advocate for the format, and he had pushed for this to be a little bit bigger, something that could draw a little bit more of a crowd. So early on, it was just announced as West Coast Pauper Open. So, Pauper Open's a big deal for us as opposed to just Saturday noon Pauper. We win a couple tickets.
For sure.
There was rumors about getting some amount of like a higher price support or something cool. And then, a couple months out from the tournament, there was this talk about these Karkland shamans that were custom altered for the event. I was like, oh, this is kind of a bigger deal. And on the way down, went with my brother and one of his friends, and they're signing up day of, and they're like, oh wow, there's like 45 people signed up for this. I was like, oh, that's not nothing. So walking into it, can't really tell where Pauper is going to be. It's like most big Magic events, just rows and rows of tables, people playing Commander, people playing Standard. The headlining event was Modern for that weekend. So, over the intercom announcing matches, and, they have a little feature match area that's going on for some of the high rollers out in the Modern event, but wasn't really sure how Pauper was going to look out there until started walking around, and I was overhearing people talking about it and saying like, oh, I ran hot earlier, on Friday we ran some Pauper. I'm hoping I just keep running hot. And I eventually ran into Salt and Pauper himself. I believe his name is Chad. And he had mentioned, oh yeah, we have top 8 promos, top 4 promos. the Karkland shamans are custom, all the artist they're, what are they called, the artist proofs, so they're not even just altars, they're proofs. I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of crazy.
That is cool.
And then finally sitting down, we have just rows and rows of people, and we had just shy of 50 people, so there was just 2 long cafeteria rows of tables of everyone sitting down and playing Pauper. I was like, whoa, this is kind of a big deal.
That's awesome. That's super, super sick. Just seeing a room. I mean, I guess it's not a room, but like the equivalent of like a regular size, like LGS room, just full of people, just all in this one section, just here for this one thing. It's super, super sick. I think I see. Did Chad also play in the event?
He did, yeah. Him and his crew, I believe, were all piloting Jund Wildfires going into it. So happy I didn't play against any of that.
Yeah, looks like there's a Chad on Wildfires in 18th place. I'm looking at the final standings here. So
yeah, he lost his winning in, I believe.
Yeah, that looks about right. Or actually, it looks like there's maybe a few placements missing here on this Spice Rack data, but be that as it may, no, that sounds awesome. And again, it's good to hear that there are advocates for the format in every corner of our country here. All right, so you chose to play Walls. Walk us through what brought you to the deck. What do you like about the deck? Have you played it long? Is this like one of your like go-tos, or is it just like this is a random extra deck your buddy had in your bag and we'll just play it and see how it goes kind of deal? Like, walk us through your Walls choice.
Yeah, for sure. I just always am a combo player. That's just, everyone knows me. I just play combo. Whatever combo is cool, that's what I'm going to be running. For a very long time, my pet deck was Goblin combo. I have it all foiled out and cool. Just, I love it. It was just the sweetest watching all the Hamuda stuff when it was a bigger deck back in like 2022, 23. Mm-hmm. Just like, oh man, this is the thing for me. 3-card combo and you get infinite mana. Come on. That's pretty sweet. And then, as we all know, Glee came around, and I was like, all right, time to take off the kid gloves and play Glee. And going in towards the event, I was confident that I was going to play Glee, but everyone knew that Glee was going to bite the dust. It was just a matter of when. Mm-hmm. And the ban announcement was coming up, and it happened about 2 weeks pre the MXP event. So I was going into it knowing I was going to play Glee if I could. And if I couldn't play Glee, I was going to play the Ultratron deck that Kalikai's had been really brewing with around that same time.
Sure, yeah.
So I had my deck and I had my backup. And then the ban announcement came out and it was no Glee. So I was like, to be expected. The deck is messed up. It had to happen. But then Deadly Dispute got banned too. Mm-hmm. And I was not really sure how big of an issue that was going to be for Ultratron. So I built it with the Fanaticals, which people, as you did for most of the Affinity, went that direction. I believe that is what Ultratron ended up going with too. Mm-hmm. And it was cool. But I also saw the crazy amount of people pushing for Ponza at that same time post-ban. I was like, do I really want to be playing Tron lands if they get blown up on turn 3 or turn 2 in some cases? I was like, that sounds kind of bad. But I want to play combo. Now there's High Tide, and I'll talk about a little bit of High Tide because there was a High Tide in the room of the event. I was like, that deck seems like it still needs an iron put on it. There's still some wrinkles. I don't think I want to be playing that. It's also just spinning and spinning and spinning, and maybe you win, sometimes you just fizzle. I was like, that kind of seems lame. But the Walls deck is something that I knew about, and I've never seen anyone play it around me. But it's constantly there. It's just, there's always something in a top 8, or it'll randomly win a challenge, or just 5-0 lists. And I was like, I've seen it. I've never played it. It looks kind of cool. Looking at the list, especially for people outside of the format, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Right.
And I was like, this is also going to be kind of unknown. people aren't really going to know how to play around it or what the deck is doing, which was a huge factor going. I found out later on, in the tournament, it was a lot of people weren't super sure how the deck functioned. I was like, I could put it together. Why not? Well, my LGS had most of the cards. It seemed cool. It was creature combo. It's what I'm known for. Let's run it. So, shuffled it up. I goldfished it, on my desk, but I had never played it. And I was a little bit nervous about that because especially with a combo deck, and I would say Walls is a little bit more complicated than other combo decks just because you have really weird lines with Drift of Phantasms and Reaping of the Graves stuff that can go on. And you can really win on this razor's edge sometimes. And knowing how tight your lines can be, with untaps with Kyrian Rangers and just really weird stuff that you can do sometimes. I was like, oh, this could be kind of weird. But going into it and then round one, it was so good. I was like, okay, hang on, this deck is really fun.
I agree that Walls is just kind of a deck where people look at the deck list and they're just like, what is going on? And then you play against it or you play with it in your experience, and it just kind of fits together. It just, all the pieces kind of just sing if you sequence correctly. And it can be a really rewarding deck to play. It's also one of those decks that I feel like someone always shows up at a paper tournament who is just like who understands who like really plays it like a combo deck, even though it's just full of all these seemingly dopey creatures. Someone who has prowess with combo decks can kind of see how these all fit together. Like we had at our Common Ground Cup, which we had a few less people. We had somewhere in the 33 range of players, but we had someone make top 8 with Walls, and he's someone who doesn't play a ton of Pauper, but when he does, Walls is his go-to deck. And I feel like there are also a lot of Walls pilots that kind of fit into that category as well, where this is their deck and they're really good with it, because it does kind of thread that needle where a lot of people just don't super know the right inflection points to deal with it. And what you actually need to deal with in order to, because it's funny because something like Axebane Guardian, which is the 2 and a green 0/3 defender, and it taps to add X mana of any combination of colors where X is the number of creatures you control with defender. That's your best sort of mana generation engine. But if your opponent doesn't know that, they're just going to be like, oh, that just makes mana. I need to be ready to respond to what actually is going to deal, which actually is going to combo me out or combo kill me or something. But this the mana, the things that tap for mana or tap for a lot of mana are actually the problem pieces that if you can deal with them, then the Walls player is going to have a hard time generating the mana that they need to combo. And so I think that there are all these different inflection points in the game that Walls can kind of take advantage of people not being super familiar either with the deck or with the format. And you can really take advantage of that. But then on top of that, you still have to be able to navigate effectively, because I imagine if you sequence even just one thing incorrectly with this deck, the whole house of cards kind of falls apart.
Oh, absolutely. You miscount your mana. You forget about an untap here and there. Sometimes you could fizzle or you could just miss these lines that could potentially win you the game. And it really does reward a lot of prowess. I'm still learning a whole bunch of stuff about the deck, just watching other people play it. And it also seems to really reward people who are willing to experiment with it. Even now, the Walls deck that I brought today, or brought at that event, almost seems outdated with some of the new tech that is coming around. And, these little dragons that search up the basics is big now. It's just so much innovation happening at all times, as with most decks. But to see a combo deck really change things is kind of a surprise.
Yeah, it's really, really awesome. So you mentioned some tech that's going on right now. I want to get into that, but before we do, I just want to kind of walk through your tournament with you a little bit. So you were giving us some updates in the Common Ground Discord. If folks listening have not gotten onto the Common Ground Discord, I recommend it. We're growing, we're starting to pop off. It's a really great little spot to chat about Pauper and also a lot about Cube. Someone made the joke.
Hidden Cube podcast.
Yeah. I'll probably make the joke with the boys when we record together. But I thought that joke was very funny. That we're a Pauper Trojan horse podcast that's really just a Cube podcast. I thought that was very funny. That's very good. But anyway, you were updating us throughout a bit of the tournament. Actually, every round, you gave us 1-0 start to the West Coast Pauper Open, 2-0 Party Rockin', 3-0 in a Dream, and then you were 4-0. You were 4-0, and this was six rounds of Swiss because there's about 45-ish people. So walk us through your Swiss, like what any notable moments in those matches, anything stand out to you? How were you feeling as you were going through? Talk us through your tournament experience a little bit.
Yeah, so it was a little bit nerve-wracking going into the first round. Hadn't played the deck before. Wasn't really sure about every line. I'm sure I'm missing things. Got a little bit of doubt in myself. And I was sitting down next to someone who I had overheard did really well on the earlier Friday event, and they were feeling really good, and they're hoping they're just running hot. And I was like, okay, this guy, one, is going to know my deck, so I don't have the little hidden factor of it, and two, is clearly doing something that's doing pretty well. So some jitters there, but it's just magic at the end of the day, not anything to be too scared about. And sitting down, it was a matchup against Boggles, which perfect, amazing. No interaction, just got to be faster. Everything's super cool there. And getting into that matchup, draw my 7. I was like, okay, this is a pretty good hand, I assume. Again, first time playing the deck, and I ended up just going off on turn 3 in combo. And I was like, oh, okay, just using a wall of roots, or not a wall of roots, sorry, a Tinder Wall to accelerate out an Axebane Guardian, doing some funny stuff with a Carrion Ranger untap, and all of a sudden I win. And I'm like, oh wow, this deck might have some legs on it. In the sideboard for the deck, I was expecting a lot of Boggles. That was a matchup I was anticipating. I was like, if in an unknown meta, people want to play something that'll just get them dead, and has good matchups against so many things. God forbids anyone brought anything red based or trying to burn them out. Just Boggles eats that for breakfast. So I brought in just some standard bears, which is a great card in general, but against Boggles, it's super awesome. Got it played on turn 2. He has to use a ram through, and then shortly after I can just assemble combo. And quick 2-0, great matchup, feeling happy about it. And the reason I was able to keep messaging in Discord so fast is because Walls wins really quick. It's a combo deck, so just constantly able to get done, wrap up, watch my brother's game, watch his friend's game. We had another friend from the LGS who was there. Just go and look around at the tables. And after round 1, I noticed there's a lot of Boggles and a lot of Ponza. So my soul read of the event did come true. Going into round 2, it was the opponent who had beaten my brother, so had a little bit of inside tech that it was Boggles again. So I was like, oh, all right, I'm really good at this matchup. I know this matchup like the back of my hand. And this is when the introduction of just having such a weird deck started to come through, because I was playing cards and my opponent had to read them. And if you're playing a combo deck and your opponent's reading your cards, you're probably in a pretty good spot.
It's a pretty good feeling.
And it's like I play Axebane Guardian. They're like, what? And I was like, spin the card around. Just like, it taps for mana. So that's all. It's just tapping for mana. It's just a little dork. 3 mana dork. Come on. That's nothing.
Exactly what I was saying earlier. Like, someone's gonna read it and just be like, "Yeah, okay, all right, sure. It just taps for mana. Whatever.
Yeah,
that can't possibly be like the linchpin of the combo here."
Yeah, everything looks really innocent until you're like, "Oh, Carrion Ranger bounced my land, tap my Axebane again. I have 12 mana floating," and they're like, "Wait, hang on, what turn is it?" And able to get a quick combo win in there. My opponent ends up bringing in standard bears against me, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I didn't really think about it, but standard bears, yeah, that's a pretty good thing when I'm trying to equip freed from the real onto my creatures. I don't want to throw it onto a standard bear." So we had a little bit of a standard bear showdown. They play their standard bear, I play my standard bear. they enchant their standard bearer, and I start reading standard bearer. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you could just enchant your own standard bearer. This feels kind of silly. But thankfully, with the Walls deck, you do have the the Alchemist, which is able to just soul bond, which ignores targeting restrictions because it's just a choice upon resolution. So still was able to just quick little combo win, starting off the game or starting off the day 2-0, 4-0. Haven't dropped a game yet, feeling really good about it, and just able to keep the party rolling. Going into round 3. I actually, unfortunately, had to beat down a homie, one of the friends that we drove down with. It was his first time ever playing Pauper, and he was playing mono white, that'd be a crazy deck. Mono blue terror,
nice.
Not the hidden Bant terror.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Haven't quite gotten that one out of the laboratory.
No,
but he was playing the mono blue terror again, first time playing Pauper, so he has to read a bit of the cards. He's like, I know you talked about it on the way down, but this doesn't make any sense. And I was like, it doesn't, and that's okay. And I beat him down, unfortunately. He played some fun cards. He flipped his Delvers. Everything was looking really cool. And then just combo happened. Didn't have interaction at the right time. Tapped out to establish a really fast clock, and then the combo clock was a little bit faster. So starting off 3-0, going into round 4, I was kind of wondering when my luck was going to start running out. Ended up matching into our only Flickertron in the room.
Okay.
It's like, okay, this is a combo deck. It's a deck that absolutely has answers to everything. That's part of the Tron cool stuff, is just having this toolbox deck. You're drawing a million cards, you'll probably have the answers, and just didn't have the answers at the right time. Won the first game really quick. Second game had a really impactful mirror shell crab to just snipe the interaction as I went to combo off, and game was over in like 10 minutes. Spent more time shuffling, just boom boom boom. I was like, okay, 4-0, we're looking good. And I hadn't played in many really long scaled tournaments before, so I was kind of feeling out in the room. I was like, am I in the top 8? Am I good? I think, right? I ran hot. You guys were mentioning in the Discord, like, oh yeah, you should be able to just draw in. I was like, sweet. I just want to get these promos. After I learned about these, the foil peeled like high tides, I was like, oh, that's so cool. As long as I get something to kind of memorize the event, I'm chilling. So, a top 8 promo, that'll do it for me. Going into round 5, I presented the idea. I was like, yeah, I think we're both 4-0. We can probably just draw. It's all good. And, but he didn't want to draw, which is respectable. He wants to play the magic out. He made the right choice because he beat me down. Took my first loss of the tournament, game loss even, happened in that round, playing Boros Synth. And game 1, which I would have expected to be kind of my best chance to snipe the game, as combo decks usually do. Just they don't have the right interaction yet out of the sideboard, so hoping to just get there. But he just flipped the craziest stuff off the synthesizer. I think he probably played about 4 synths between bouncing it and returning it with different core Skyfishers and Glinthawks, and it was just removal spell after removal spell, and that'll do it. Game 3 came down to a really pivotal point where he had 1 mana up, and I had 1 turn to live. Had the combo, went for it, and the 1 mana happened to be a red blast, and hey, them's the breaks. So took the loss on the tournament. Still feeling okay. Still feeling trying to still just draw into the top 8. See if I can't squeak in there. Round 6, though, I paired into a good guy running a 5-land spy, which I had seen a bunch of the stuff online about, where the Italian players were like 4-0 dropping, and it was supposed to be like the secret tech going into the most recent Pauper again. And I was like, I know the deck, but like how crazy is it? And I had sat somewhat close to them. I think they were about 2 people to my right in game 1, and they were playing their 5-land spy against the mono blue high tide, and I was like, oh, Jesus, they're just comboing over there. Didn't get to see the results of the game, but I was like, hey, if you're up at the top tables, clearly this is doing something really scary. And just beat the brakes off me. Not even close. It was an embarrassment. The deck is just so consistent. The 5-land spy deck. It is so fast. I brought no graveyard hate because I was like, I'm faster than Dredge. I'm not faster than this deck though. And it's both games. I think I died on turn 5 on game 1, died on turn 4 in game 2. And there was just nothing I could do about it.
Yeah, the deck
it's a good deck.
Yeah, the deck it's evolved so much so quickly in the last few weeks, and it really is just like a well-oiled machine. It was for a while. It was one of these decks that like we've talked about him on the show. Our friend Hunter, who shows up to our locals and has played this deck for a long time. Like it's like one of those like kind of one-trick pony decks as well in like the combo sphere. But now it's just like. It's just a solid choice all of a sudden, just kind of like blew up. I like whether it was just Sagu Wildling just kind of like becoming a piece of glue that puts it together, or whether it's the metagame shifting enough to open a spot for it. It's been really cool to see.
Yeah, like you said, just so much evolution in this deck so quickly. I think now it's no longer the 1-land spy. It's no longer the 5-land spy. I think they're on 6 lands. So who knows? We might get to 7 someday. But Kali Guys recently did a video with the Italian player who is credited with kind of originating the deck, and just hearing him talk about it, I was like, this is just a cool deck, just so different than anything else we have in the format. Just Pauper being Pauper, having so many cool cards, and just this weird off crazy deck beats me down. And I had assumed at this point, I was like, oh man, 2 bad losses. Maybe I don't even get to top 8. Thankfully, I was wrong though.
You were wrong.
So snuck into top 8. I was like, oh yes, I have to be on the draw the entire top 8. So that kind of sucks. Of me and the 3 of my buddies who were there, I had placed at 8th, and then my friends had placed 9th, 10th, and 11th. So
wow,
I was holding it down for the home
here. Yeah. Wow.
I was like, all right, got to get something going. And really placing 8th ended up being a huge boon for me, because the first place, I believe the only undefeated player in the tournament, was on Ponza.
Okay.
And Ponza, just a great matchup. They try to blow up my lands. I bounce them with Kyrian Ranger. Game 1, they have nothing to interact with whatsoever. So as long as I don't die to a super fast start, I can combo for free. And I ended up taking it 2-0. Just opponent didn't have the right interaction. Opponent was reading my combo cards. I was like, yes, read Kyrian Ranger. Read this weird little dork. See what they do. Ceruli Caretaker, this random common that ends up being just a house for the deck because it makes a colored mana, and it's a defender. Just weird little dorky guys, and it just gets there. And once I had hit top 4, I was going to present a split, because there was the 4-card clan promos. It was late. We had been there for like close to 8 hours at that point, just playing Magic. We had the High Tide player and the Flickertron player, so every single round was going to time with turns. We even some of these white based decks with the core Skyfishers, so there was a ton of core Skyfisher running around that day. Mm-hmm. Just they're such value piles. They're just always in the game. They gum up the board so much that every round was going so long, and there wasn't really good food options there. So, calling back to the Common Crown episode where we're talking about, prepping for big tournaments, the food issue is huge. Eating a really big meal pre-event, bringing food, because you never know. And, it could go really long like it went for us. And going into the top 4, we had left with the Boros Synth player who had beaten me as my first loss, the Flickertron player who was going to time, and a white weenie deck, actually. And I had presented the split. My Boros homie, who didn't want to go for the draw round 5, he was like, I just want to keep playing. I was like, all right, I guess I'm playing Pauper, whatever. I was a little bit worried because he obviously knew the matchup and he's already beaten me once. I was like, oh man, this sucks. I don't want to lose. And if I'm already here, I might as well.
Okay, yeah, so I was about to ask because I was looking at the top four as you were approaching this. I had all the deck lists pulled up, and I noticed that it was the Flickertron player and the Boros player who you... I would assume that this is the same Boros player you played against, because then they beat you to be 5-1 and also get into top 8, and this White Weenie player. So you did have to have the rematch here, and you were able to come out victorious this time.
Yep, took down the win. Real cool guy. Talked about Star Wars like the entire time.
Nice.
I was the antagonist, he said, and he got to be the protagonist. I was like, all right, so we had our Revenge of the Sith moment. You get to have your Return of the Jedi next time we meet. He was like, that's funny. But beat him, and then had to wait for Flickertron, which
in an untimed round.
It was an untimed round. I can't even remember how long it went. It got to the point where we were getting close to like 9 o'clock, and the venue was going to close at 10. And people were starting to come up to me and was like, hey, you might want to like talk to a judge about this because the venue's gonna close and you want to have time for your round. I was like, yeah, but then I got to be the bad guy and I got to have confrontation, and I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
So I started just doing laps around the event. Everything else was done at this point. Even the vendors were packing up and leaving. Just talking to people like, oh yeah, you heading out? I was like, no, I'm actually waiting for the finals. And they're like, what are you doing? I was like, well, it's Flickertron, and it's going to be a while. Eventually go back, sit down, start resting my head on my backpack. And it came down to White Weenie had won game 1, and we were just in game 2.
Oh boy.
And I was like, oh man, do I just have to drop at this point? I got my cats are at home. I've been away forever. Magic doesn't even sound good anymore. And the Flickertron player was just spinning their wheels, doing what Tron does. And it eventually, he asked the judge, can I check my sideboard? And he had checked, and I guess he was missing something that he needed to win, or he sided it out. And the mono white player had just kind of accidentally exiled enough stuff in the graveyard through Thraben Charms that he had no way to win.
Oh, wow.
So he ended up conceding. And I was like, wait, I get to play White Weenie in the finals? This is perfect. This could not be any better. Sit down, super cool guy playing White Weenie. Really relatively new to Pauper, he said, but it's his favorite format. He had never seen the Walls deck before, though, so we're kind of talking about how things happen, what cards are interacting with what, how much mana. At one point it was like, you have how much mana? And it was like, 4 or 5 defenders, an Axebane, a Kyrian Ranger. I'm like, it's probably like a lot, man. And ended up getting there 2-0. So I was like, oh shoot, this deck is really, really hot. And I ended up taking home the finals on a deck I hadn't played before. But at this point now, I'm just hooked. This deck is so cool. It feels great. So glad I did not play High Tide. It's just no doubt this is the combo deck for me. I know you guys had spoken on it previously, where High Tide, like even if it isn't super good, the play pattern that deck presents is just miserable. It is so awful to watch that deck spin its wheels. And I couldn't even imagine how long that top 8 would have lasted if I also wasn't going fast. Just not the ticket at all.
Yeah, certain co-hosts of mine would be inclined to agree with you quite strongly. I personally, for me, I sympathize with the like holding up the tournament sort of vibes, and like it is annoying to like sit there and watch your opponent just kind of like play with themselves for a little bit, and you're just kind of like not doing anything, but you're not conceding either, because there is a chance. It's like when we had Nadu Summer in Modern, yeah. It's like they're probably not gonna fizzle, but like they could, and like that happened to me one time a few weeks ago playing against Kalikai's on Magic Online. Like he just kind of fizzled, and I was able to burn him out from there. But like it's such a low percentage of time, and until then it feels like they're kind of taking the game hostage, but also like that's just kind of also the combo player experience to a certain extent, and I also don't want to deny people from having the experience they want to have in a Magic tournament and playing with the cards they like. Like, it's an interesting balance to try and strike, and I think that Pauper's a neat place to kind of showcase that type of stuff in an environment where sometimes the stakes are high. Like, you had like these really sweet artist proofs and being able to say you're the champion, and like there are a lot of stakes in that way, but in terms of like you're not like winning like Pro Tour money or a World Championship invite or anything like that. So it's kind of nice to have these types of things exist in a format where we aren't necessarily taking it so seriously all of the time, and you can just kind of do silly stuff every once in a while. I kind of like it here for that reason, I think, and I think that Pauper kind of strikes that balance quite nicely.
For sure, it has the benefit of being just really cool. Like, just it is just you're playing High Tide in Pauper. You have this creatureless combo deck, this drawing a billion cards, which who doesn't love drawing a billion cards? Just taking up a lot of that chess clock is the only downside. If it was winning a little bit faster, maybe it'd be more fun to play against. Just something I saw it play about twice, and both times it was just, all right, I'm comboing. Okay, now you're dead. I was like, oh wow, 20-minute turn, but you got there.
Right. Whereas this Walls deck, like once you put the pieces together, it's pretty quick to be able to establish, like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then if you can't interact with this, you lose the game. Like, it's pretty quick to put all the pieces together.
There's so many strange little lines that end up happening where you end up with, do I have anything to really combo with? And with just so much mana available and having so many tutors, it's really interesting on how you can find something really out of nothing. There was more than one game where I have all the mana in the world and I don't really have anything to do with it. And, I draw, let's say, a Shield Wall Sentinel, and Shield Wall then finds a Drift of Phantasms, and then Drift of Phantasms goes and it finds another Drift of Phantasms. And then you go and find Reaping the Graves, and all of a sudden you have 2 Drift of Phantasms, and you can find both your enchantment to go infinite plus the outlet for it. So it's just out of one card, all of a sudden you're just boom, you're dead. It's just really, really explosive in that way.
That's awesome. I was looking through your sideboard here. Your sideboard for the event, all 2 ofs except for the single Mirror Shell Crab. We've got 2 Crimson Acolytes, 2 Obsidian Acolytes, 2 Healer of the Glade, which is the 1-drop that gains 3 life, 2 Masked Vandal for some naturalized shenanigans, 2 Scattershot Archers for, I assume, just for taking down fairies, among other things, 2 Standard Bearers, which you had mentioned in the recap, and 2 Tamiyo's Safekeeping. Just like a solid swath of just like a little bit of everything. Make sure you just kind of have all your bases covered. Like a really, really solid sideboard. And I think the Acolytes do so much work in decks like this that are relying on your creature sticking on the battlefield.
Some might say the sideboard's very clean,
Just whipping out all the podcast references in one interview. I love it.
Going into it, I was you're going into it relatively blind. We're still super fresh into this new meta. I have no idea what I'm really scared of, so I just kind of brought a little bit of everything. There was no red deck in the room, no Pinger Burn, no anything that was really racing down. So Healer of the Glade was just a nothing burger.
Sure.
I brought Crimson Acolyte because I was trying to find a way to live against Karklan Shaman.
Yes.
That is the scariest card in the room for this deck. Crimson Acolyte doesn't really do a bunch for it. It doesn't really help all that much. Because if I'm going up against like a Grixis Affinity that are gonna have these Toxin Analysis or Blowgun combos with the Karklan, I can try to give something protection from red, and then they'll just activate it again, and they'll just go over it. And making white mana isn't always super easy. If you have your Axebane, you can have a ton of it, or if you have like an Orichi Reef Caller or Leaf Caller, you can turn that green into white. but having both the acolytes plus the white mana to save plus the extra white mana to like go over their reactivations wasn't super didn't come up at all, unfortunately. A lot of the Walls decks have been playing, I believe it's called Rapin Vigor, which is also seen in some like Elves decks, where it's like 1 and a green to give it or to regenerate, I believe, all your creatures. So, just being able to go, hey, you're going for your toxin analysis, I'm going to regenerate everything. And then they can either decide to blow up a bunch of lands or a ton of artifacts to wipe your board, or their cart clan just doesn't do it's a little 2-card combo thing.
For sure.
But yeah, I think they both have some warrant. Masked Vandal for the same reason, just affinity is the big thing that I'm scared of. Sometimes I would be thinking about it for like the Boggles matchup, because you could be hitting like an Ancestral Mask, which effectively gains you a ton of life, but didn't end up coming up very much. Mirror Shell Crab overperformed a ton. Just having this access to 3 mana most of the time counter target spell, and because it's a channel ability, you're not like fighting this combo war. My sideboard now has, I believe, 3 Mirror Shell Crabs, because I've just really liked how it's come up in most games. I brought in the Obsidian Acolytes because I figured there was probably going to be some amount of like a Gardens deck of somewhere going around. People usually like to play these mid-rangey value piles at these events. Plus, I wasn't sure if there was going to be people who were still catering a lot of their sideboards to back when Glee was around. How many snuff outs are in the room? How much do I have to worry about this black removal? So that was there. You hit the Scattershot Archer right on the head. Just it's amazing against fairies. If there happened to be like a Coggate's opponent, I'd be thinking about that too, because sniping all the birds is pretty fun. I did come up, I believe, one time I brought it in against these when I was playing against the Boros Synthless, and having access to like a Kyrian Ranger, you can all of a sudden start sniping down their birds, which is a big deal. Definitely hurts their clock a lot. Standard Bear is just a house of a card. It brought it in against the Boggles deck. It was amazing against the Boggles deck. And Tamio's Safekeeping, I think, is usually just our best access to giving something hexproof. But also having the Indestructible, it was amazing against the small instances where I fought against Karkland Shaman. Just being able to say, hey, you can kill the rest of my board, but I'm going to keep, this one Axebane Guardian kind of thing, and trying to rebuild from there.
For sure. No, all solid choices, solid reasonings, and a list that you piloted to the top to great success. And you have these Crockland Shamans. You posted the photo in Discord. They look awesome. And a couple other promos to boot. So a really, really solid day. A long day from the sound of it, but you got your prizes. You are the champion, and a big congratulations to you.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it. It was a fun time. Pauper is the best, as we all know. Just a long day. Looking at maybe going out to the one that's going to be happening out in Washington towards November. They had mentioned, maybe giving me buys in the tournament because I was the champion already, but they're looking at a couple things. This whole idea of the West Coast Opens are still super new, but it was a great time. Laughing Dragon always puts on a great event, so just fun all around.
Oh, that's awesome. If I ever get a chance to get out there to one of these, I certainly will do my best. Sounds like a great time. I wanted to give a quick shout out here. The following weekend, Walls ended up winning one of the weekend challenges on April 25th by Brew Kid M.
Absolutely.
There's a couple of minor differences here compared to your list. They're on a couple of Llanowar Elves, just to have a couple more Dorks. They're on a single copy of Scholar of Athreos in the main, which I thought was interesting. It's 2 and a white for a 1/4. It has the activated ability of 2 and a black. Each opponent loses 1 life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. So just kind of an alternate... what's the damaging Valakut Invoker, which is the one where you can dump mana into to bolt any target over and over again. You lose the option to bolt creatures with this, but this can potentially play around your opponent giving themselves like protection from red against the Invoker, or giving themselves hexproof in some strange manner. This just kind of helps you drain that way, and then also it gains you infinite life as well if for any reason this doesn't actually kill your opponent, which I thought was interesting. And then in the sideboard, they've gone up on safekeepings. They've gone up to the second Mirror Shell Crab, which you called out as being strong. And they're also running a couple of Fairy Macabres, which is the 1/black 2/2 with flying. That you can discard it from your hand as a free activated ability to exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards, which I imagine could potentially be a response to things like the spy deck, the X number of land spy deck. Just be able to nab a couple things out of the graveyard and stop them from dread returning the Lotleth Giant.
Fairy Macabre is just like a perfect card for this deck too, because it's a creature. You hit it off of your Winding Ways and your Lead the Stampedes, and it's a 3-mana card, so you can grab it off of Drift of Phantasm. So it's in my sideboard now. It's
awesome.
But yeah, it's just perfect for this kind of deck. Just having access to the graveyard hate that isn't the Relic of Progenitus, that isn't these sorceries or instants that exile. Having it be a creature and 3 mana, it's chef's kiss, just perfect.
Yeah, I didn't even pick up on it being 3 mana, so you could pick it up when you transmit your Drift of Phantasms. That's even more sick, and just even shows like I'm in this format like week after week looking at deck lists for the show, and I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it. Like people who are dedicated to the format still miss little edge interactions with a deck like this. There's all these complicated little things that once you see it, you're seeing the matrix, but until then, you just kind of have to read cards and see it play out in front of you. But awesome, really, really great stuff. They're also not on any generous ents, which is interesting. You're on the 4 generous ents.
Yeah. Some people haven't been. I love generous ent in the deck. It's been so good. You're already running this super low to the ground 13 lands in most cases, and I just can't imagine not ever having them. It's great when I'm cycling it for a land. Sometimes if I'm getting all this mana, but I don't have a way to go infinite, or I don't have the outlet after I go infinite, just sometimes dropping just the 5/7 reach that also gives you this food is just such a house. You can even start going on the beatdown, or at the very least, it's going to stem the bleeding. If you're going up against like a synth list or something like that, where they're trying to fly over you, having the reach and it just being bigger than everything else it's such an impactful card. I can't imagine ever going off of my generous ents. Some people have been trying out like the Sagu Wildling, but I like my trees.
Nice. I am a fan of trees as well. On that note, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, Kyle. Is there anyone or anything you'd like to shout out before we hop off here?
Oh yeah, I'll shout out my little brother. He did great. He was playing Boggles for the first time. He was the top ranked Boggle at the end of the day. So I like to tell him he's the best Boggles player in California now.
Let's go.
Official.
It's definitive about it. Yeah.
But yeah, appreciate you having me on here. Love talking about Pauper. It's good stuff.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for making the time, and we appreciate you sharing your experience. We'll keep an eye out if you manage to make the next Pauper Open that they have with Laughing Dragon, and we'll of course shout it out on the pod so all of our West Coast fam can go play some Pauper.
Heck yeah, Pauper on the West Coast isn't super big yet, but with time,
getting there, building the scene. I feel like we're building a lot of Pauper scenes just around the country right now, and like we've got the Southeast kind of growing on our end, and y'all got a little murmurings on the West Coast. We got some bigger mumblings going on in upstate New York. Like we got a lot of cool stuff going on. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. New York is killing it. Cali Kaz, I know, is a big part of that. The Chad from Salt and Pauper was saying that they're trying to like work together to make this whole grand United States circuit. So excited to see where we can take things.
For sure. Awesome. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for being on, and we look forward to hearing more results from you in the future.
For sure. Thanks, guys.
Oh my god, that interview was so good. Y'all killed it. It's like
Thank
5
you.
seconds after.
You waited.
No,
5
I did
seconds.
listen to it while I was working today.
Yeah.
So, and Kyle, you seem like a really cool dude. I'm sorry I missed it. I'm sorry Hippo missed it. I wish I would have got to talk to you and stuff. Congrats again. Car Clan Shams look super, super cool. I also loved all the references he kept making. It was killing me. Like the Banterra, the Tron, the Banterra stuff. And I'm like, oh, this guy gets it. I liked it a lot. It was funny.
Alongside many listeners, he's a true since episode 1 listener, and that felt really special. And thank you again, Kyle, for kind of making our day. Honestly, just like getting to hear you just kind of joke around with these silly little jokes we make on the show, and everyone, like, it's kind of why it's part of why the Discord is so much fun. Is just everyone just gets to, there's a space for us to just like goof off and reference these silly little jokes that we're making week to week. And yeah,
I like
really good stuff.
Somebody in the Discord called us a Pauper Trojan Horse podcast described as a Cube podcast, and that getting reference killed me too.
We're just a Pauper Trojan Horse. It's really just a Cube podcast.
And that killed me. I really felt when he said, like, oh man, am I gonna have to like ask a judge about like, hey, like the venue closes an hour. We got to wrap up this untimed top 8 game with Flickertron and stuff. And he's just like, nah, I hate confrontation. I'm like, that's me. Like something could be like pretty detrimental. And I'm just like, whatever, let's just fly with it, And so I felt that quite a bit. So thank you, PickledHeart, Kyle, for giving us your time there. A really good interview. I enjoyed listening to it myself, and I hope the audience does as well.
Absolutely.
Good job, Thomas. Way to interview.
I'm just doing my best, man. Happy to be of service.
Heck yeah. We had some pretty cool challenges, so instead of just giving y'all that, we could have just gave you that interview. That was long enough to be an episode, but the challenges were way too cool for Thomas and I not to hop on. Oh yeah, we're not even in person. We're just talking to each other from Discord because we're both like wiped from work today.
For sure.
Like, and so we just wanted to talk about the challenges because they were so freaking cool this weekend.
Absolutely.
Man, the last 2 weeks, I just want to like start off with, it's so cool that after this ban, it's like what's the expression? The sand hasn't settled. The sand in the bottle hasn't settled yet.
The floodgates have opened or something like that.
I don't know. It's just like the meta hasn't settled. It's just, it's people are bringing whatever they want. It's so sick.
It really is sick. Do you want to go just challenge by challenge? Just like go through each list or just
we can
as
read
per
the top
usual,
8. Yeah, let's read the top 8 and then there's definitely, let's read it per usual, and then there's definitely some outstanding deck lists. We don't have to get into like mono blue fairies or whatever. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll start. Away. For sure. We'll start with Friday, May 2nd. This is the Magic Online Pauper Challenge. There were 51 players in the Friday Challenge. In 8th place, Clamigo on White Weenie. In 7th place, taking their first loss in the quarterfinals, Makashiok, I'm not entirely sure the pronunciation there, on Cawgates. In 6th place, Misplaced Ginger, opening up another Pauper Challenge, making 6th place with Grixis Affinity. In 5th place, Ixodor 29 on Gruul Ramp. In 4th place, Beso de Gea, haven't seen that name in a while. In 4th place with Elves. Yeah. In 3rd place,
a very different deck.
A very different deck than usual. In 3rd place, Chemist 1234 on Grixis Affinity. In 2nd place, Pedrostone on Green-White Boggles. And in 1st place, with an 8-1 record, Discovern, playing old trusty Mono Blue Terror. And this is, of course, their signature version, playing Demon Furiers and Ponders. We're not messing around with Boomerangs or Force Spikes or anything like that. We do have a couple Dispels in the main, which I do like to see, and we've added a couple Gut Shots to the sideboard, which I played with at our last locals, and they felt fine. Like, it's definitely good in certain matchups, like the Elves matchup, where they can just dump so much stuff on the table and just overwhelm all of your tempo stuff, your bounce spells, your counter spells. So being able to like gut shot the Quirion Dryad is really, or Quirion Ranger is really, really important. And you can randomly pick off
don't want
opposing
them
Delvers.
Chump forever.
Yeah. You don't want to let them chump forever. You don't want to let them just untap. I mean, like double tapping their Well-Wisher, double activating their Timberwatch Elf gets awkward when you're trying to like block a couple things with terrors, or even just the tokens, even just with like Murmuring Mystic tokens. But no Murmuring Mystics here either, which is interesting. But yeah, discovering popping off here.
So why are we really here, though? What are we really excited about in this challenge?
Well, you see, if my Magic Online will open up here. What are we excited?
I didn't count which place it was. 11th? 11th place?
11th. Sure, perfect. 11th. We've got an Infect list. We've got Infect. Classic suite of pump spells and a number of Infect creatures. Plus the Llanowar Augur, which is like a pump spell on a stick in a way, which is interesting. Playing 4 copies of Go Forth. I've never seen this card on the list before. That card. Yeah, it's a Jumpstart card from Jumpstart 2025. It's a single green mana for an instant. It says choose one. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Or target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, which is kind of the perfect split spell because for a while... I know that a number of lists, including the lists that our friend of the pod, Thomas Bitter, has run as well, are playing like a lot of copies of this card, Thirsting Roots. And there's one copy here where it's a single green mana for a sorcery that either searches for a land or proliferates, which is also kind of like pushing the Infect thing with your poison counters on your opponent. But this Go Forth, it just increases, it allows you to stay low on lands, but also still keeps your pump spell count nice and high, which I think is a much better effect for this style of deck, which is pretty cool.
Do you know if escape tunnels have always been the norm since that's been printed? I've never paid too close attention to Infect. I know, funny enough, we mentioned Hunter. Hunter is a big also Infect fan, so
yes, it's true.
We'll have to ask him next week if escape tunnel's always been there, because it's kind of tricky. You can activate it on your Glistener Elf, and then you can cast your Embiggen or Might of Old Corrosa on there. Embiggen, another really funny card in in this deck list. It's green for an instant. Until end of turn, target non-Brushwag creature, because of course, gets +1/+1 for each super type, card type, and subtype it has. So each super type, card type, and subtype it has. What does that mean?
So if you look at Glistener Elf, and of course this is also a little awkward because Glistener Elf has been errated to include the creature type Phyrexian. So Embiggen counts super type, which for a creature would be creature, like creature, artifact, enchantment. Those are super types. And then card type and subtype. I guess super type. Okay, card type is creature. Super type.
Okay, so card type.
Card type is creature. I think
super type is like warrior.
No.
It's like an elf warrior. Are you sure?
Nope. That's the subtype.
Oh.
Yeah. So for instance, Embiggen gives Glistener Elf +4/+4 because it's a creature. And a Phyrexian elf warrior. So it gets +4/+4.
Basically, anything that it says in that middle text line where it says creature, elf, warrior, it gets plus that, plus whatever. It sucks because all the like Infect creatures have been errated to say Phyrexian on them.
Yeah, it is a little awkward, but
extremely confusing.
Right.
And that you just got to trust me, bro, on that one, you know?
Right.
It's one of these like you're cheating.
One of these uncards that randomly is legal in other formats, and like it's a little awkward, but it is also kind of funny, and it really only shows up in this deck. So it's just kind of a funny, like, it's one of those like Magic trivia things of like, do you know what this actually does type of deal. It's very funny, a very funny card.
I'm sure it gets people pretty hard too, you know.
For sure.
Anything. So like the goal of this deck though is just to mulligan to one of its creatures, hopefully, and protect it with a Snakeskin Veil, and just you have these +4/+4s and Embiggen and Might of Old Corrosa, was it the other +4/+4? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And you just like that's 9 damage. That's 9 infect. If you have 2 of those, that's death. basically. You know, so like this deck can be really, really quick.
Yes, it really can. Like you really have to manage the threats. Yeah,
Like in a format that's now blossoming with so many like different combo decks since like post Glee. I think this is like a really cool choice.
I agree, and we'll see a little bit more of it as we go down the weekend. Are there any other Friday lists? Any other Friday lists you want to look at? Because there are definitely some Saturday lists I want to talk about.
Yeah, definitely Saturday. I just want to throw out that Borosynth had just 3 Seekers, Seeker of the Ways in the main board. I just love that card, so it's cool.
The 9th
when
place
that
list.
card feels playable. Yeah, yep. In the top 16. Sorry, did I say top 8? Yep. Or I think it was 9th place. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
It just feels nice when Seeker of the Way is. You're not embarrassed to put that on the stack.
Yeah, it's a sick card. All right, let's pop into Saturday. All right, Saturday. May 3rd. We got 45 players in the Saturday Magic Online Pauper Challenge. In 8th place, starting off with an absolute banger. I don't understand why the spiciness meter on MTG decks is at 1%. This deck is so sick.
Yeah, that thing's dumb.
We will come back.
That thing is not cool.
We will come back to it in a second. But in 8th place, D-Baggin13 on mono green tokens. We're gonna come back and talk about this. This list is super cool. In 7th place, Domo Arigator on Demir Control. In 6th place, 3 Vilder 4K3. I think evil. It spells out Evil Drake, but with threes, some 3s and a 4. In 6th place,
dude,
with
good
Alter,
for you for getting that.
Hell yeah! I try. I'm a
never.
professional.
Not my brain, man. Not my brain.
It's okay. My brain is the right kind of messed up for this. They're in 6th place with Altertron. Nice to see Altertron get a finish here. Excuse me. In 5th place, Gahe1 on Elves. Another top 8 for Elves. In 4th place, Ivernop on Turbo Fog. This is black-green with the splash of blue for the Stream of Thought. In 3rd place, Hatare Ane on Mono Blue Fairies. In 2nd place, Chemist1234 with another top 8, this time with Grixis Affinity. And in 1st place, with an 8-1 record, the runner-up from the most recent Paupergeddon, Walker735 with Spy Combo. We were alluding to it.
Let's talk about this before
Yeah. We're gonna get into this. We alluded to it at the beginning of the episode. So this is kind of where the 1-land, 2-land spy combo decks have kind of been iterating into, and they've just keep adding some more lands. This is 6-land spy. We've got 3 forests, 2 swamps, and a mountain. And the whole
because do you remember? So the last Paupergeddon, apparently these people were like. Some Italians were like, hey, we cracked the format with 5-land spy, and they all owed Ford. But then it just started popping up in the challenges, and it started popping up in challenges in leagues 5-land spy. That's been the hotness. So the 6 new spy, if I'm not wrong, is pretty new, and that's something Walker has iterated themselves or has been a big component on it.
For sure. I think
believe
it really
they just added a mountain.
Yeah. It comes down to whether or not. I mean, I think that the 5 and 6 land lists are pretty similar. They're basically it's whether there's some differences whether or not you want to play Writhing Chrysalis at all or in your main versus your sideboard. This list is playing for Chrysalis in the main, which I think is a really Chrysalis is just a great backup plan. It's proven to be a great backup plan for a lot of decks.
It's just playing a mid-range deck right now, isn't it?
Exactly. So the whole point of this deck, you play so few lands because you have cards like Land Grant, which is the 1 and a green sorcery from, I believe that's Mercadian Masks. If you have no land cards in hand, you may reveal your hand instead of paying Land Grant's mana cost. You search your library for a forest card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So those are basically, your 4 copies of Land Grant are basically additional copies of lands. You have 4 Generous Ents and 4 Troll of Khazad-dûm to land cycle for your lands. You also have, once you get up to 1 or 2 mana, you have or 2 mana at least, you have Malevolent Rumble and Sakura Tribe Elder to continue to make sure you can hit your lands to get to your combo turn. This isn't running the full all in kind of combo cards. Like, actually, I should adjust that statement. It is playing some of the cards, like Songs of the Damned, like the single black mana instant that says add a black mana for each creature in your graveyard. That is in the sideboard, so they have some version of this list. Walker 735 is kind of like sideboarding back and forth between the like all-in combo version with like Songs of the Damned and trying to go super super fast versus this like maybe slightly slower but probably more consistent and just playing better cards overall. Like we've got Lead the Stampede to try and find more of your creatures. We've got the Sagu Wildling is really the card that I think has really pushed this deck over the edge from kind of like fringe playability to seeing a lot more play in the mainstream of these challenges and in leagues as well. Sagu Wildling is the new card from the Tarkir Dragonstorm. I almost said Dragons of Tarkir. I feel like so many people have done that. It's the
I do that quite often.
Yeah. It's the green Omen Dragon in the common Omen Dragon cycle. It's 4 and a green for a 3/3 flyer that when it enters you gain 3 life, but the more important part is its Omen spell. It's a single green mana for a sorcery that searches for a basic, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle, and then of course the Omen shuffles the dragon spell back into your library as well, so then it also gets to stay as part of your creature count when you flip almost all of, or maybe sometimes most of your graveyard into the bin, which I feel like is going to happen a lot, and that's the whole point with the Balustrade Spy. 3 and a black for a 2/3 flyer, enters the battlefield, you reveal cards on top of your, target player, but you're going to target yourself. Reveal cards on top of your library till you reveal a land, and you put the rest of those cards in the graveyard. The 1 to 2 land versions are trying to dump, like just trying to flip your entire graveyard and then combo off from there. It looks like this version can kind of do it in chunks, and that's very, very interesting to me.
I wonder how often they sit there and do it in chunks, because if you do it in chunks, you do expose yourself to like some form of graveyard hate versus
that's fair.
If you
that's fair.
Like longer. One thing that is really weird to me is that they only play one Dredgescape zombie, so that's that zombie with Unearth. So you're really counting on having other creatures on the battlefield to flash back that Dread Return if you go the combo route.
For sure.
I can't imagine this deck having the same explosiveness as like regular one land spy, because you're not playing Dark Ritual, you're not playing Lotus Petal, but instead like you're adding cards like Exhume and lands that you can cast spells with, which is something the other deck cannot do. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited for our conversation next week with Hunter to talk about and ask him how he feels about like the pros and cons. It's like, okay, you get access to this mid-range game, but I'm sure you lose not necessarily consistency, but definitely speed. Like this version might even be more consistent. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not as fast though. That's for sure. Because you can't full combo, and so those lands are all gone.
Right, or at least dump the whole bin. Like you might be able to get like a Lotleth Giant that deals like a decent amount, but like you said, you have the backup
plan
one
of
just
return.
Like right. You do only have one Dread Return, but you also have all these Exhumes now, so you are just kind of exhuming a troll, which. Reanimating a troll is troll got banned in Legacy because reanimating a troll was apparently too good in Legacy. So if you can do that here, like that's got to be powerful. And being able to cheat on mana with Land Grant and the trolls in Generous Sense in the first place, like this is a recipe for success. I've been kind of looking like the Dredge deck, like the regular green black Dredge deck is kind of the only other deck that has popped up with some level of popularity that is doing like Troll of Khazad-dûm plus Exhume, and that's just like such a powerful thing to be doing. I think that it's really cool to see another deck really utilizing the power of that combination of cards. Like I've been like brewing in my head, like how do you just like make just a really, really busted Exhume deck? And this might be another version of that. Because even sometimes the Dredge deck sometimes only plays like a couple Exhumes and then like more like the Gnaw to the Bone or things like that. But I think this is a really, really sick iteration of the archetype. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to chatting with Hunter about the archetype in general.
Another funny thing, if you're playing the mirror, and they're on one land spy and you're on this deck, you can just mill them out on their turn. Like, you can just mill them out if they don't have a bobble in play. I don't know if they have a way to beat that.
You just spy
play
them.
and they die. It's hilarious. Yeah, because they won't have a bobble. Oh, that's another thing that's gone from his deck too, is that Conjurer's bobble. And like, that was something about the other deck that. Oh, they are in the sideboard.
Yeah, there's four.
Man,
yeah, there's four.
I
in the
think
sideboard.
they're so fantastic post game because it just made the deck feel like so impossible to beat.
Yeah,
it's just 1-mana demonic tutor. Like, once it's gone, and then you can get like the weird like stifle and artifact thing for Nihil Spellbomb or Relic if they got that on board.
Yeah, Rust. Yeah.
Yep. But
for sure,
that's enough of this deck. We also have another really cool deck, don't we?
Yes, we do. I want to talk about this. I want to just gush about this mono green tokens list in 8th place. They were 5-1 in the Swiss. They took their second loss in the top 8. Wait, what do you want to talk about?
I want to call out real quick. I have been like saying, like, there's got to be a deck that plays Sprout Swarm somewhere.
Yes, it's here. It's
card
this deck.
So good in Cube. I know, and then like
it's
finally,
just a menace.
I know I'm not crazy.
No, like, it's a menace of the that draft format, like that block. Like, I have heard so many like Magic boomers just tell horror stories of how like Sprout Swarm was just the best card in that draft format, like over any rare.
They didn't even like when they did TSR. They didn't put it at uncommon. They didn't put it at rare. They just did not put the card back in the set.
They just didn't reprint Sprout Swarm, so they didn't have to deal with it. It's so funny.
Yeah.
But this is a mono green tokens list that is built around Saproling tokens. You have a couple of creatures. You have a playset of Glimmerbairn. They're both 1-mana creatures. You have Glimmerbairn, which is a single green mana. For if it'll load here, it is a. So we got 4 copies of Glimmerbairn, which is a single green mana for a 1/2. It says sacrifice a token, and it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. A lot of potential to be huge here. And then another single green creature here. It's a common from Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. It's Cloakwood Swarmkeeper. It's a 1/1. It's also an elf, for those who care. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Cloakwood Swarmkeeper. So you kind of have 2 versions of use your tokens to make your 1-drop big, where Glimmerbairn will sacrifice them to do like a big burst damage, whereas the Swarmkeeper will just slowly grow over time. It might grow quickly over time, even though it will only get 1 +1/+1 counter if you make like 2 tokens at once, because it says whenever 1 or more, but every instance of making tokens, it will get bigger. So 2 really, really solid, just like 1-mana threats that can probably grow pretty quickly. And then everything else is, almost everything else, is just based around these Saproling tokens. Even so much as playing 3 copies of Sprout, which I had never seen before, which is a Time Spiral common, a single green instant that just makes a 1/1 Saproling. That's just all it does. And like, it's good enough to be in here. But you called it out exactly. It has 4 copies of Sprout Swarm. Sprout Swarm is an insane card. It's 1 and a green for an instant. It has Convoke, so you can tap your creatures to help pay its mana cost. It has Buyback for 3, which is if you pay the 3, it comes back to your hand after resolution instead of going to the graveyard. And it says, put a 1/1 green Saproling creature token into play. So essentially, once you're basically just, for 5 mana, you can just make a 1/1 all the time. You just like 5 mana, make a 1/1, and then eventually these 1/1s help you cast your Sprout Swarm again and again, and you eventually just have a never-ending supply of Saproling tokens. This deck is super, super sick, playing things like Might of the Masses to pump your creatures +1/+1 for each creature you control. Scatter the Seeds, another Convoke,
Echoing Courage,
Saproling. That's what I wanted to talk about, because I was looking at this list and I was like, how does this deck beat a Breath Weapon? I saw there's some Magnifies in the sideboard, which I love. Magnify, it's a single green instant. All creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. Very cool. I'm like, okay, so that beats like Trickery. How do we beat Breath Weapon? And then I saw Echoing Courage. 4 copies of this in the main deck. It's 1 and a green for an instant. Target creature and all other creatures with the same name as that creature get +2/+2 until end of turn. That saves all of your Saprolines from the Breath Weapons and Drown of Sorrows in the world.
I was thinking about this differently. I was thinking, like, you know how this beats Breath Weapon and Drown Sorrows? They're at 0. They're at 0 life points. Like, they're just dead.
Yes,
they're at 0 health.
That is also what you can use this card for. That's probably the primary use for the card. Yes, I agree. This list is so sick.
It's just Guardian's Pledge, but for Saprolings. It's a really cool card.
It is. You're right. That's so funny.
Man, that's wild. Because it is +2. Yeah, the Guardian's Pledge is just +2/+2. That's funny. Card's insane. Like Sprout Swarm too. Like, man, that's a card that's like in my queue. When that card, I've like seen the power of it there. Where you just play against a mid range deck, and what do they do against it? They can't keep up with the 1/1s, and eventually you mentioned that the Saproling token just help pay for the next Sprout Swarm. So you get to a board state where on their instep, you're casting it 6 to 10 times, and that's just unbeatable. Or even when it's not that out of hand, if you're just making like 2 chump blockers a turn and buying time, you're just chump blocking their Writhing Chrysalis or their Terror every turn.
Sure.
Until you finally get to a board state you can handle. Until you draw something that makes more tokens, you can cast it 4 times instead of 1 or 2. And you can start like pulling ahead on that interaction. Man, that card is wild. I've always wanted, I don't know why I've never have, but I always wanted to put a copy of it in what's that deck called? Jund Wildfires. I thought it'd be sick there and just like mid-range mirrors.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Because Jund Wildfires and I guess any Grixis Affinity, any deck that plays the Cart Clan Shaman and Toxin Analysis, like those decks can really get the best of this deck, especially just the Cart Clan. You don't even need the Toxin Analysis, but it can cover against the Echoing Courage. But the Cart Clan Shaman decks, that's got to be a little rough here, but at least with like Sprout Swarm, that's a way you can just start building back again. Because Hippo's talked about it before, how much he hates the Jund Wildfires deck because he feels like it can't close a game ever. So if like they Cart Clan wrap both of your boards and you're left with the Sprout Swarm, you can start rebuilding pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this list is so sick.
And something else too, this deck is also playing Escape Tunnel.
It is, that's true.
So you get a lot of like
one of them, especially with the Glimmer Baron.
After you've already Escape Tunnel it. So it's kind of similar to that Mono Green Infect deck.
Yeah,
that trick. It's funny.
The Might. Exactly. Yeah, you can Might of the Masses, you can target your Glimmer Baron, attack, get through their blockers, and then sacrifice a bunch of tokens and pump it up. One last thing I'll call out here is that there are 6 enchantments in the deck. There are 2 Rancors and 4 Fists of Ironwood, which is an oldie but a goodie. One of my friends who first taught me how to play back in freshman year of college, this was an old favorite of his. It's 1 and a green for an aura. When it comes into play, you make 2 Saprolines, so it's on theme, and it gives the enchanted creature trample. So another way to just punch through with your 1-drop creatures that care about tokens and making themselves bigger, and also just another way that Might of the Masses can get converted into good trample damage. Also, it just makes a couple more Saprolines. Really, really cool little piece of evasion here for this deck.
What a modern Masters banger of a card. Do like from the was it 3rd or 2nd one? The card was sick there in that set.
Which one?
Should I play this Saturday? The enchantment.
Fist of Ironwood? It's from Ravnica.
It wasn't a Modern Master set. Well, yeah, it was in a Modern Master set too, though.
Yes, it was Modern Masters 2015. I think there were a lot of tokens, like Scatter the Seeds was in that one too. Yeah,
but the one time I drafted that with that or Cube Weekend, I drafted the green white token deck and I had like 3 of these in my deck. It was cool.
Yeah, that deck was sick. That format was fun. It was very much like you're on rails and just doing your thing, but I thought that the gameplay was really good and balanced overall.
Yeah, it felt like Cube. It felt like a Cube.
Yeah. Any other notes from Saturday? That was kind of the
I want to
big
throw
notes.
in this Kerblinski in top 16 here with Mono Black Sack.
Oh hell yeah!
So we're seeing this was a deck that you really really like and picked up for a bit. Some interesting additions. We have Voracious Vernum, so 2 and a black from Wilds of Eldraine. When this card enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black creature rat token with this creature can't block. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's just a 3 mana, one of those effects that comes with the 1/1 when it ETBs.
Interesting.
So we just got 2 extra copies there. We have 2 Accursed Marauders in the main board, and then it looks like the other 2 new cards were 2 Wedding Invitations. So I can just give, it's one of those, so it's 2 colorless. Well, when it enters battlefield, draw a card, tap, sack it. Target creature can't be blocked this turn, and if it's a vampire, it gains lifelink.
And notably, there is
vampires.
also a vampire that they added. It's the Bloodthrone Vampire. One in a black for a 1/1. It's a vampire. Sacrifice a creature and it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So there's like that little bit of an edge case that it might come up. You might get to target your vampire with the card, which is pretty cool.
So it looks like Krablinski here just added like 4 extra payoffs with the creatures and the Voracious Vermin, and then you mentioned the or 6. There's 4 of them, the Bloodthorn Vampires. So it looks like they're adding some extra payoffs there.
Yeah, a couple extra sacrifice payoffs, some more payoffs for when your creature gets big and you have more things to do with it. They're also playing 2 copies of a sorcery called Rite of Consumption, which is from Shadowmoor.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, 1 in a black. 1 in a black for a sorcery. As an additional cost, you have to sacrifice a creature, and then it deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target player, and you gain that much life. So in some spots, this could just straight up, you could just win the game with this card. You could just have a big enough creature and have whittled them down enough where you're just like, boom, you're dead. Just like fling the creature at their face.
Oh, yeah.
That's really sick. This is a really cool innovations on the archetype. Love to see it. Oh, 2 Spinning Darkness.
Oh, I didn't even see the Spinning Darkness. That's funny. We had a Altertron in top 8 as well. I just don't think we haven't seen Pact Altair in a top 8 of a challenge like since post ban. So that's cool. This card decided to make a reappearance again. You want to move it to Sunday?
Yeah, we can breeze through Sunday quickly. This is May 4th for the Sunday Challenge. We got 66 players in 8th place. Ermac on Mono Red Synthesizer. In 7th place, Luminati on Old Faithful Mono Blue Terror. In 6th place, now in the top 8, ICT 95, our same Infect pilot, playing Infect. In 5th place, and there are a couple changes, we can go over it. In 5th place, Ixodor 29 on Gruul Ramp. In 4th place, Kikis on Mono Red Synthesizer. In 3rd place, Crevaloni, also on Mono Red Synthesizer. Mono Red came out to play on Sunday. In 2nd place, Luffy Do Chapeau DePaula on Grixis Affinity. And in 1st place, with a 9-1 record, Ivernop making another top 4 appearance, this time taking down the whole thing with Turbofog. This is, of course, the black-green version.
Top forward.
They top forward on, I think it was Saturday. It was one of the other challenges this weekend. So excellent weekend for Ivernop here. And it looks like they're up to their usual biz. They've got some Pyroblasts in the board. I don't know how normal that might be.
They top 8'd last week too.
Yeah, it's true. I think they won one.
And they haven't. Okay, yeah.
I thought
and
they won
they haven't
one of the
changed their
challenges,
deck list at all. It's been the same
awesome.
75.
That's awesome. It's too powerful.
No one's stopping them.
No. Way to go.
Flare and Pains, don't think so. I'm not putting those in my sideboard. It's back. Maybe I dust that off for Saturday.
There you go. There you go. That'd be fun.
Or I could play mono green
maybe
tokens.
You want to play some
Saprolands.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I want to call it a couple of adjustments that ICT 95 has made between the Friday Challenge Top 16 and this Sunday Challenge Top 8. They have moved... actually, hang on. Maybe it's... Wait, no, never mind. It might be the same list. It's just... Never mind. It's the same list. MTG Decks just decided to move some things around. It's the same list.
That's hilarious.
But hey, like you said, so like when people are showing up with more combo, things like, Turbo Fog. I mean, I guess Turbo Fog, you can still just kind of fog the attackers, but like seeing some more mono red show up in this top 8, I can see why maybe it didn't get as far as it could have in the final bracket. But like going down this top 16, we got a lot of elves, some more Altertron. We've got a High Tide list in 9th place. Like These
It's
are
the
all
Wild
things
West.
that infect can definitely prey upon.
I was talking about Turbo Fog with fellow fog enjoyer, our friend Speznor. He was one that pointed out it was the same 75. I didn't even realize. I'm like, whoa, that's whack. But he was like, man, do you think Scattershot Archer and a Cyborg would be good against like Mono Blue Fae? Because I don't want to play that Like that seems like such a bad matchup. And I'm like, yeah, it just seems really good, especially if they like trim down their snaps post board. Though they are good to rebuy back the Spellstar Spray, but like if that like kind of lands, that's pretty rough for them to deal with.
Yeah.
So shout out Speznor for that. So that's could be some tech if you're worried about the fairies matchup on the fog perspective.
Awesome. But no, like you said, just a lot of different stuff going on. The sands are still shifting, or whatever the expression is. If you know, let us know.
The sands are still settling.
Yeah, they truly are. Love to see it. I do want to quickly call out the 8th place Mono Red synthesizer list. They were playing synthesizer, but they were also on the Burning Tree Emissary Bushwhacker Rally at the Hornburg tech, that version of the Mono Red list. But they were also playing synthesizer. Not all of the Burning Tree Emissary lists are playing synthesizer. So cool to see that.
I sleeved up the Mono Red Goblins deck, and I was playing it against Devin and Anna's house the other week. Oh, that deck felt terrible. Like, once you're out of gas, there's no synthesizers, there's no Rinse Resolves. Like, once you're done, you're done. Like, it can be pretty explosive. Like, I stole some games, but, like, when Anna was playing Blue-Black, I'm like, so this is just unwinnable.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. Beautiful. Any closing thoughts?
Get out there and play some Pauper.
Yes, please.
Go to our Discord and hang out with us. It's fun talking, working, taking a break, check Discord real quick, respond to some people. I just submitted 2 cubes to KubeCon. I think voting opens up May 20th. So next week I'll start bugging everybody. Be like, go vote for my cube. The Graveyard Cube and the Peasant Cube.
Nice. A very fresh design. Yeah, we haven't even drafted. Y'all are gonna draft it on Friday. I would join, but I have an evening shift, unfortunately.
Oh, dang.
That's all right. I look forward to hearing about it.
I don't know. Do you got any closing thoughts? If you got any questions for us, send them to commongroundmtgpod@gmail.com. That's in the description below, as well as the Discord. You can go send us your thoughts there too. Come hang out, come chat. It's a good time. I got no other plugs or nothing.
No, that's it. Thank you so much for listening, fam. We appreciate you. And look out for an episode next week. I'll want to give one last thank you and shout out to Kyle PickledHeart for hopping on and chatting about his victory in Santa Clara. Awesome to hear. Thank you again, Kyle. We appreciate you.
He seemed like a really cool dude. Again, like, bummed I missed out on that conversation. He seemed super cool.
Yeah, it was a great chat.
Peace.
Yeah. Peace out, fam. Thanks for listening.
And love. Peace and love.
We love. In 8th place, excuse me, I had a White Claw. In 8th place,
No laws.
there ain't no laws.